Thank you everybody for sticking around. We thought we might not even be able to have the reading we were supposed to because it was so packed, so thank you everyone for showing up tonight. We really appreciate it. My name is Stefan Reichert. I'm the editor of Smartish Pace, and I want to thank Poetry Northwest and 32 Poems for putting this on tonight with us. All right, thank you guys. Just a quick note, I also want to thank the Smartish Pace poets who have read here tonight. Thank you very much. I know it's not a great ask to come out here for 5 minutes and read your poems, but thank you for doing that. One note on the rundown here. Unfortunately, Dorian Lux, who had agreed to read with us, couldn't make it tonight, so she will not be reading last. But she says she's sorry she couldn't make it, and I am too. We still have a lot of poets to go, though. One word about Smartish Pace. So I started the magazine 26 years ago, and so our 25th anniversary issue just came out. It's not that exciting, but thank you. And next up, we have reading for Smartish Pace, Beth and Fennelly. Maybe. We have another cancellation. Is that true? All right. We'll move along. Malachi Black for 32 poems. Here?
Malachi! Yeah, he's here.
Yay! Someone stayed. You get 6 minutes.
You're here.
I will take 6 minutes. I'll read two poems. The first is a California text. This is Prayer of the Last Prize Fighter. Small god of the sea glass, imp of riverbanks and every weather, give back to the sand this knuckle shrapnel and the hand that rattles like a snake's tail with its loose shards of bone. Let the star whose dead light leans against me be my last enemy. May my opposition be as phantom as the shaft of its cold beam, collapsible as ash is to the touch. Surrender me to shallows and the salt gallop of a rising surf, to the dark burrow of the mole crab and the snail shell's supple purple curve. Scatter to the gulls these teeth chipped by the lifting surge of uppercut, eyes lost in their own whites, this tongue still swollen with the pulp of its old blood. Little lost god, hidden dizzy in the driftwood, I leave to you this lip split by the language of half luck. Though I was formed of 2 parts water, 1 part dust, I was born before the first light of the sun. I know death is man's divinity. Come, soft God, come. If I have planted ache into the scarred earth of a man's skull, it's only that I soothed him with the leather of my gloves. Thank you. Both of these are from my newer collection, Indirect Light. This is entitled Indirect Light. It's in memory of Michael Chapman, born in 1978, dead in 1995. The only earth we knew then was the earth we would outgrow. The screech owl's talon drawn on parchment light, a yellow bulb above the porch moths, an hour there in the indistinct navy tablecloth of night, running our hands through it, rinsing our fingers as with lake water in a winter without frost. There, in the weight of it, in the air between pine needles and the rocks, sinking even then, though imperceptibly, into the tread of sucking mud, we couldn't think of it, raised as we had been once from the wet husks of our mothers, lifted as by wind and wound in bed sheets warm as blood. We couldn't think of it. If we had known, we could have huddled, held ourselves and held each other. We could have held each breath until it clenched like granite to the riverbed of lung. But there, unknown to us, it was, as tenderly indefinite as love, a death embedded in the bright bead of each firefly we cupped out of the darkness with our palms as soft as tongues. There, as our laughter flapped above us like a swan, it was, it was, it was, it was. Thank you. Next up will be Mary Leauna Christensen for Portland Northwest.
Thank you for having me here. Can you hear me? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Mary Leauna Dalgodoa. My name is Mary Leauna Christensen, and again, I'm happy to be here. This first poem is a reading title, and I should say the language I just spoke was Cherokee, specifically Eastern dialect. That's North Carolina, not Oklahoma. And you'll hear the language a little bit in the poem I'm about to read, which is titled Mother, and it's also a reading title. Mother, we lost so much language, and like children try to bury ourselves in its embrace, only to find absence or a steamed white pan. Mother, not everything is communicated through touch, but some things are. At the funeral home, you pulled me close, and this felt new. We sat shoulder to shoulder during grandmother's visitation, recited the rosary from memory, and I wonder if we looked more alike then, our mouths, muscles moving in unison. Mother, did you open your yellow bird mouth for every round seed of language grandmother gave us? Mother, your green thumbs enough to know seeds absorb moisture easily, to know they want to grow even in the driest place. Etsy, when I was born, you were younger than I am now, meaning my body has given nothing, meaning my body only takes. I swallow this mother tongue, not to bury it in a belly, but to quench thirst. Etsy, I liked how pretty water felt on my tongue. I wanted to name a daughter Amma, but water can be stagnant and mildew coils the air. Etsy, I was told my poems are beads strung with asterisks. The word for beads is edera de stodi. I stumble, drop beads from strings, try not to crack them underfoot. Etsy, I only want to make you a gift. Etsy, I drink so much and am so thirsty. So this next poem is also depressing. I'm afraid to read because it's actually, this week will be the 4th anniversary of my mother's death. So oddly timely. This is also a read entitled At the Casino Hotel on the Res. At the Casino Hotel on the Res, located in the lobby, a perfectly contained fire, all black rocks and equally black marble. I'm wholly aware of myself, tourist and old blood. I belong and unbelong in this place. All that family in the cemetery on the hill above the house my grandmother had built but never lived in. Worn from lack of use, there's talk I'll fix the house up, make it livable and lived in. I remind myself hill rhymes with will. My grandmother was strong-willed. All we can do is what the dead would want. I dream of red clay giving up what is buried, a slide of casket and decay, all the quartz native here, the finality and erosion. I've buried so many. I'm undone and reworked. The owner of the place that sells marble and granite knew my great-grandfather, knows the family cemetery and the holly bushes it's named after, says my great-grandfather delivered gifts of food when in town, specifically fresh sausages. The owner discounts 2 headstones, a double and a single, a parent-daughter set. We, 2 daughters motherless, a father with no daughter. Last time I visited, I stained the interior of my partner's car with red clay, cemetery stains. The path cleared to carry mother up the hill with ease, washed away months later. I barely made it to the gravesite, a lone pallbearer. Mother's silk flowers were stained red, grandmother's too. Here now in December, there is no snow, just a wetness, a bone deepness. Like the lobby's fire, I contain so much, mostly its death and the effects of it. I contain so much, my blood is percentages, quantum printed on a card in my wallet. The card so much like a driver's license, it can be used at the bar on the casino floor, an alternative form of identification in case I'm lost. When I last talked to my grandmother, a bird flew to me confused. When my mother told me she found my grandmother's body, my knees bruised against carpet, and I don't think I ever wailed before. I was my mother's final phone call. We almost filed a missing persons report before we knew she was lost, but not that kind of lost. How our bodies become statistics. My mother was once in this lobby, belonging and not belonging, and it's only a woman that looks like my mother who walks past now. And unsurprisingly, my last poem is also a read entitled, I Tell a Friend. I tell a friend it was nice to be taken care of. I dozed off with my hand in the nail text as she spoke about her sons, as she shaped my nails almond and painted tiny landscapes just on the ring fingers. I joke that all my fingers are ring fingers, shimmy my hands to flash sterling silver, turquoise wampum. My grandmother purchased several of the rings at the Phoenix Indian Medical Center gift shop. She knew the nurses, once girls at the Phoenix Indian School, where my grandmother worked after leaving her res, after marrying a man with a last name Nunez. Every December, she wrestled a large metal tub from the garage, remnants of the school's cafeteria. In the tub, large enough to be an incubator, she mixed moss so well by hand, I'd watch. When I was born, a nurse said, pity an Indian baby so white. I chewed my nails to the quick and then tore at the quick. Now self-care or my nails cost so much I can't afford the ruin. I joke I'm a bird, attracted to glistening, and told my rings are typical Indian. I buried a ring in the lining of my grandmother's casket, adjusted the engagement ring on my mother's cold finger. My nails long, almond-shaped, my wrists widening with age. What I'm trying to say is when I look at my hands, they're not mine. I'm going to dedicate this poem to Jody, who I accidentally just scratched instead of saying hello. And the next reader is Edgar Kunz for Smartish Pace.
Hi. How are we? Can you hear me all right if I hold the mic like this and talk like this? Higher in the back? Yeah, how's this? Okay, louder even. How's this? I can't wait to yell these poems. It feels really good to be here with all of you. This is a cool event. Thanks for having me. Don't laugh. I'm going to read two poems. The first poem is about a job I had taste testing dips for a multinational spice conglomerate. It's called Tester. I catch a bus out to the county and check in at a beige terminal, and they ask me about the smells and textures of various dips, and I click appealing or not appealing and elaborate in the text box below. Artichoke and French onion, spicy 3-bean queso. I got in on referral. I live with 7 other people. I measure rent and how many sessions I have to do with the dips. I start testing what I can get away with. Notes of bright espresso, mouthfeel of a sun-ripe plum. I write longer and longer. I do not think they read a word. It's weeks before you're entered into the system. More weeks to get your tiny check. Aline says, if you think it's a scam, why do you keep saying yes? In the fluorescent room, I receive one dip after another from blue-gloved hands, always the same plain tortilla chips to dip with. The same hands clearing away the tiny plastic cups. I tinker with my descriptions. If I need water, they bring me water in slightly larger cups. The second poem, this is my last poem, is about falling in love in California. It's also about a very small, ugly bird. It's called Night Heron, and there's no punctuation, so I'm going to read it accordingly. Night Heron, what now? You'd flown in from a Midwest city named for its rowdy summertime abundance, lying, saying you were coming to visit friends in San Francisco, and I had taken the train from chilly Oakland to meet you, and we rode north, carefully not touching. I took you to the tiny one-room apartment I had escaped to after the divorce and fried us nervously some potatoes in a cast iron pan, a little rosemary, which we did not eat because you kissed me hard, and we went in a rush to the mattress I bought off a guy in a semi-famous band, and had only the day before gotten off the floor and onto the pinewood bed frame I'd found and hoisted on my back and carried down out of North Berkeley, arms wide, weaving through the side streets, towing the center line to avoid snagging the Buckeyes, leaning out. It was about suffering in public. It was dramatic, sure, but the dramas of my life were pitched as high as I could stand, higher sometimes. I said, breathless, I want to taste you. And you said, please, yes. And later, out of the edge, huddled out at the edge of the lake, huddled against the damp wind, hot grease soaking through a paper bag, licking salt from each other's fingers obscenely. A night heron peered up at us from the reeds, small, hunched, dipping its shining beak in the shallows, not particularly beautiful, but a heron nevertheless, the same one we were sure we saw perched on the awning outside the theater, whose marquee shouted slogans like, "We live in a fake democracy," and "Prevent unwanted presidencies with hand-counted paper ballots." And later, the cabin we rented with friends in Calaveras, snowmelt vaulting the redwoods to magnificent heights, drinking rye, and each of us practicing our best wolf howl at the waning moon, which was ridiculous, yes, but once we started, it became impossible to stop. Waking up next morning hoarse and happy, and you moved west, and we lived together in a studio overlooking the cafe dumpster, and then back east on a dream of a house and a garden, and then my father died. And almost the same age yours did, and both from drink and an unnameable sadness. I went back to Connecticut alone, 3.5 days, my mother said, before anyone had found him in his apartment on the far side of town, and going with my brother, which we should not have done, and dragging the mattress out, and clearing the maggots off the ceiling with a shop vac, and so on. And later you came, and we walked through the basement of my mother's house. I wanted to show you where for a while he lived and how. And you slung your arm around my waist, and we moved slowly together, bare fluorescent bulbs shining on the Budweiser ashtray, the carpentry tools I would inherit, the ratty couch he crashed on for years. You held up an old Calypso record he loved and sang out softly, "Jump in the line, rock your body in time," and I sang back softly, "Okay, I believe you." And after a while, Mom at the top of the stairs shouting, "What are you kids doing down there?" And climbing the steps, you pinched my elbow and asked if I'm okay. And I hear myself say yes, which is not a lie, though I'm not listening. I'm letting myself feel how astonishing what our love can make of a place like that. Next up is L.S. Klatt.
All right, thank you. And thank you to all the editors out there who make poetry possible. I see a lot of ones who have published me in the past, and I really appreciate it. And I know a lot of these people here appreciate it as well. It's very methodical work, right? Right? Very tedious work, editing. And I really do want to just shout out to the editors. This first poem is, it's for all the hounds and their high-pitched exuberance, and for the resilient earth and its shrill enthusiasm. It's called Rhapsody in Falsetto. Out of the falsetto grows the wild rye, and there is no caveat. A field of wild rye where bird dogs hunker down. The rye, the creek, the swale with a high pitch height. Oh, there is no caveat. No caveat. Except the bolt cutters used to clip the toenails of the dogs, who, having spent themselves chasing, lie acquiescent, their noses soiled and tremulous. The dogs who soon enough will be fed into the cultivator. Out again they bolt like little blue stems, like a field of little bolt cutters. And in the winter, The field will be worsted, the coats whitened, and the guns blued. There will be nothing left to fetch, no coverts to scatter, no wings to flush, not an iota left to point to, neither swale nor creek. And the hirsute rye in which to hunker down will be saddled with yelps, caveats. In the woods, you can look up and there will be last year's hornet's nests, these great sculptures naturally occurring. For some reason, I started to think about what it would be like to put one of these on my head. I'm sure you thought of that too. This goes many directions. It's called Whirl. No saint looking to make a name for themselves scours the trees for a bald-faced hornet's nest. And no saint in their right mind, finding one, houses their head within the nest. But the possibility of wasps visiting a papier-mâché brain and poking holes in it is inspiring. Just as paper once wet in the mouth and daubed becomes a theory of composition. Or the honeycomb, devoid of honey, invites someone to pour gas on it. I wasn't looking to set myself on fire, but the spiritual life can't be lived in a null. A cloud of unknowing ignites at the thought of nothing. Like in 9th grade, standing at the sharpener, turning the crank, grinding the pencil back to cedar and lead, thumb and forefinger holding the ferrule as helical blades spin the shaft indefinitely, spitting out flames that miraculously are not your flames. And I'll end with this one, Figment and Half-Light. There is morning, there is evening, there is pheasant stumbling out of brush, dimly seen, not starting up like a lawnmower, as the simile wants him to, but the neck leaking green, then indigo, leaving an oil slick. The pheasant, neither engine nor device. And should the bird wing awkwardly, the way an insurance man does, roadside, struggling to climb out of his Volkswagen to relieve himself, that's just a figure of speech. The decorative male yet to be heard is dispatch formless and void in the blush, the night, the spirit of hyperbole hovering over an encrypted wood hitherto. Thank you very much. Our next reader is William Archila. Did I pronounce that right? Sorry, I didn't.
Go get it, William.
How do you pronounce your last name? Archila.
Yes.
Yes. There you go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I can tell that I'm well known in this crowd. I'm going to be reading from my book, SS4, and it's basically poems about the Central American migrant crisis. So you know the poems are going to be very, very funny. So everybody get ready for punishment. This is a disheveled sonnet. Postings. 80 rounds from an officer, burning, looting. The life of a miner always leads to a line of corpses. Segregated schools, segregated hoods. Not enough money in the bank for representation, for a voice, for a commercial. Be mindful of Minutemen, pilgrims, unidentified men, unhinged, who donate money to all white men in suits executing laws. Take note of drug trafficking with the pistol of a teenage assassin. Pay attention to his invisible hoodie stitched to his head. Try to count backwards. Try days swollen and cracked backwards. Try School of the Americas in Georgia. Try Atlacatel Battalion. Try City Hall. Try the coroner's log. Be vigilant of the government as the ghost of God, including Michelangelo and his cadavers. Also taking care of other people's babies, crybabies, and shit loaders, wiping, mopping. What else? What else makes you disappear? Thank you. I have I was at another reading earlier today, and someone came and asked me, what does that mean, S is for? And so I'll read the poem so you can figure it out. So I'm gonna read that right now. It's called Saturn's Country, and it's based on the Francisco Goya painting, Saturn Devours His Children, one of the black paintings. And the ES that I mentioned in this poem is the ES that the Salvadorian national soccer team carried on their jersey in the 1980s. Saturn's Country. S for salt, for spoiling crops. S for worse or no choice other than exodus or a territorial discourse. S for stretched out in the morgue, plastic bags like garbage you discard. S for ES, which is Senor of 1,000 choruses. S for stinking hog, onions, frenetic maggots laying their baggage. S for steal your flesh, meat butcher, bootleg in the marketplace. S, some might say, your gas slosh from a tank. Others, that first blue God doused on a tarp, hated it and left it to rot. Or you're that sound he loves so much, smaller than a cricket song. S for sculpt, for the soiled search of your God. S for complete, utter darkness. S for success out of the carcass. S for sloth, for sickle, for a solar system beyond sable incarceration. S for savior, for scavengers and sculptors you throw out of the temple. S for so much white noise pressure, even the cardinal won't canonize you. No, not that bird, not that pontiff, nor your arsenal. S for still to this day in your belly, in the dye of your mouth. Thank you. How many of you are coming to LA for the first time? Oh, not that many. Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, for those of you who are not from LA, here's a LA poem. Welcome to LA. City of ghosts, city of dead cars, city of nod to the songs that say blah, blah, blah. Is this what I get when my father's dead? Is this what I get when I'm lonely in my veins? I don't feel like watching TV or listening to stereo set. My heart downtown has nowhere to go except where the dead reside. Suddenly, the choreography of bodies sleeping in tents by the lake. Some Angelinos, some illegal. What it's like to shake with an ashtray's click of cigarettes. Now tell me, doesn't the desert eat unless daylight is winding down like a siren? Lawmakers smell of cash because they eat cash, says my father, while I grow old and nocturnal. Inside the eloquent darkness, the blue comes out in the dirt. I don't know what the worms do inside the earth. I don't know why I'm more tired than a dog revise in a graveyard. Tired of American Gothic gentrified, disgusted by plastic, by the gutting of carcasses, where others have gone off to praise the 4 black shiny SUVs parked in the driveway. I have deserted to the streets, deserted to odes and elegies. It's strange to think beyond that window, another exile is probably thinking the same as me. You can find almost anything. City of cocktails, city of cops, city of carnations crush, and taco trucks. Thank you. Thank you. The next reader is Christopher Childers or Childers?
Chill, yeah.
Chill.
Chill.
All right.
Apparently, Stefan was trying to decide between me and Robert Pinsky. I was cheaper. Start with a toast. Sort of toast. The earth imbibes the rain, and so do all the trees. Seas drink the streams that run. The sun imbibes the seas. The moon imbibes the sun. Friends, spare the diatribe if I also imbibe. Everything I'm going to read today is a translation from Greek and Latin lyric poetry. This is the Penguin Book of Greek and Latin lyric poetry. It came out last March. I think it will finally be published in the U.S. in August in paperback, but I spent 14 years on it. It has verse translations from about 80 different poets and over about 700 or so years of ancient literature. And I thought I'd do one of the hits here. I was asked to do drinking songs. There are lots of them in this book, but I'm not going to leave it at that. This is Sappho 31. I'll do it in Greek first. Why not? See if I can remember it. Painatai moi kainos, isos teois in emenone, optis enantiostoi istane, kai plasionaju pone sasupakue, kai gelai sasimeroen, tomeman cardiam instetes in eptoaisen, uscaresi dobroche osme ponais udineteke, alla camin glossem age, lepton dautica croiburiba dedromeken, opatesi duden orenie piron besi dacuae, kai cademitros cache etai, tromoste paisan agre, chlorotera de poias emmi, hetnacen doligopideoes, painom emautai. He seems like the god's equal, that man, whoever he is, who takes his seat so close across from you, and listens raptly to your lilting voice and lovely laughter, which, as it wafts by, sets the heart in my ribcage fluttering. As soon as I glance at you a moment, I can't say a thing, and my tongue stiffens into silence. Thin flames underneath my skin prickle and spark. A rush of blood booms in my ears, and then my eyes go dark, and sweat pours coldly over me, and all my body shakes, suddenly sourer than summer grass, and death I fear and feel is very near. This is from Horace. I only know the first stanza in Latin, so I'll do that. Persicos odi puer apparatus, displicent nexae filiura coronae, mitte sectari rosa quolocorum sera moretur. Please, boy, no crown of lindens for my hair. That's just the sort of Persian frill I hate. Give up the search for some far country where the rose blows late. You can't improve on a simple myrtle wreath. Don't even try. These myrtle wreaths look fine on you as you serve and me as I drink beneath the shade of the vine. Very fortunately, I'm told Beth Fennelly is here, so.
Hey y'all, I'm Beth Ann. I'm so happy to be here and delighted to be part of this very cool occasion and happy to be representing Smartish Pace, so thank you so much. I'm going to read you just a couple pieces from my forthcoming book, which is called The Irish Goodbye. It's a collection of micro-memoirs, so it strives to take from the different genres I love from poetry, that compression and abbreviation, and what I love from fiction is creating a narrative, and what I like from nonfiction is truth-telling. So these are very small true stories about my life. This first one is called Married Love, Playing the Long Game. Even now, 3 years later, when she opens the drawer beside the stove for an oven mitt, she finds the oven mitts folded. This is because 3 years earlier, during an intense game of scattergories, when the category was things you fold, and the letter was O, her husband had written oven mitts. Nobody folds oven mitts, she scoffed, and refused him his point, forcing him, ever since, to prove it. This is another one from that same married love sequence, which I got interested in because I was thinking that American culture doesn't really have an ethos that appreciates the love of people who've been hanging out for a long time. We like unrequited love or first love, but long-time love is kind of interesting. So here's another from that series, Married Love, Discerning Taste. I discern that earlier, during dinner, my husband must have bitten his tongue. I discern this after dinner with my tongue. Kissing is gross. It's just gross. I don't know why we like it so much. This is the shortest one. It's 5 words. Birthday. Even my earlobes look old. You don't even have to clap. It was 5 words. 5 words. Who cares? Okay, this is my last piece. This one's a paragraph long. So yeah, I wrote this because I was thinking, well, I wanted to read it tonight. I knew everyone in this room is a writer. And I was thinking sometime back, we have hard jobs, but it doesn't look like it. And I was thinking this in particularly when I was down visiting my husband's family in Alabama. His dad's a mechanic and his brother's a mechanic and his cousins are mechanics, they're all mechanics. And we would have a situation where we'd be sitting at the dinner table and they have like blackened fingernails and cuts on their hands. And they'd be like, oh, that carburetor. And yes, for sure. But I also would have spent the whole day reading and working hard, and I'd want to be like, oh, that chapter on Dickinson. But you can't say that. You just sound like an asshole. So because I couldn't say it to them, I say it to you. It is hard when your job is hard, but does not appear to be so. For instance, when the lawn crew arrives and you are reading. You are aware of how this looks. You are aware that if they glance through the window, they will see a woman in her pajamas, reclining in an easy chair, reading. They cradle heavy leaf blowers, wear goggles and earplugs. Your slippered feet are propped on an ottoman. They are well within their rights to think, look at this idle woman. But in fact, you're reading student papers, student poems, dense literary criticism is far from easy, though you read in an easy chair. Sometimes, in order to keep from quitting, you have to bully or cajole yourself. You are fatigued from this reading, though it doesn't show, so you get no credit for your stamina. If only when reading difficult material, your face grew red and sweaty. If only your breathing grew ragged and labored, like during great exertion at the gym. Deadlift and chest press, hammer curl and lat raise. And now the most difficult exercise of all, lick finger to turn page. You can do it, BA. 2 more sets of 8 reps. Thank you.
Folks, that's our reading. Yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Why don't we give everyone another round of applause? You all have a good night.